Well, it has been an eventful Monday Night Raw, and I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Top commenter of the day goes to Kayla. She's number one. Janelle came in. He is number two. And for now, that's where I will leave it. Shout out to y'all for being here on time. If you want to be shouted out, you have to be a member, number one. And number two, you definitely have to come in early and be the top five commenters on the list. And I will shout you out just like I shouted everybody else out. With that being said, it's Monday, and Monday Night Raw did not disappoint. The show kicked off with Jey Uso. Jey Uso came out and essentially he called out his brother. He told his brother that he had some stuff that they had to work out. There was some kinks that had to be worked out between the two of them. And there were some things that needed to be said. Right, that is very loud. Can you please turn it down? He said that in order for things to go the way it needed to go, he and his brother had to work some things out. They ultimately ended up doing that. They had a conversation in the middle of the ring, and Jimmy essentially thanked his brother for coming out there last week to help aid in the partial destruction of the new bloodline. But Jimmy, you know, let his brother talk. And as his brother spoke, Jey Uso basically said, I'm not coming back to the way that things were. I'm a different person. I did everything that I could on my own. I did it. I made myself a name for myself. I'm Jay and you're Jimmy, and they know us apart now. They know who I am and they know who you are. I got my own championship and I did all of that by myself. Respect for that. Jay said, if I come back, shit's gonna be different. I'm my own man. You're my own man. I'm not finna be no yes man. I'm not finna be no bitch. I'm not finna be just answering and taking orders. Roman's gonna have to learn how to respect us because we're equals. He said, all I asked, Jimmy's request was all he asked is that he shows up Friday and talks to OTC. Jay said he'll be there. That's when the new bloodline showed up and they decided to take out the Usos. The Usos was able to still work together and take down Tama and Tonga, even Jacob, and they backed off. Now, as Jimmy and Jay were backstage walking away, Sammy shows up. We haven't seen Sammy since he lost to Gunther. Sammy was questioning Jey Uso's return to his family. Why are you going back into this? You can make your own choices. You can do your own thing. You don't have to make yourself a part of this. And everything that he was saying to him was true. But at the same time, this is his family that is falling apart. And I think that if this was the shoe was on the other foot and Sammy's family was falling apart, Sammy would go and do everything in his power to try to restore it, especially after losing two matriarchs within a month or two's time. At some point, something's got to give. Now, Sammy doesn't understand. He still doesn't. They end up arguing, and Jey Uso blurts out that you wouldn't understand because you're not family. That hurt Sammy, obviously. And that's when Jey Uso just simply walked away. He went to go talk to his brother, who was packing up his stuff, and his basically was like, hey, I'll go talk to him. It was like, nah, man, just let it go. He said, no, I'll go talk to him. So he did. Or at least he tried. When they show up to find him, Sammy is in the parking lot seen talking to Solo Sikoa. So it seems, or it's alluded to the fact that Sammy is somehow okay or on the same side of the new bloodline. But I doubt that that's the case. In fact, I think it's quite the opposite. I think that they came in and saw it, and it is what it is. But because Jay has now seen this, this has swayed his decision making on Sami Zayn and how he feels about him, or at least that's how it's being presented to us. Friday is going to be a new day, so we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Next match on the docket was Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser. Now, this was a feud that had been dead in the water for quite some time, and they decided to revisit this feud. And these two acted as if they have been pissed at each other for the last 8 months, okay? Which in hindsight, they more than likely were, but they have been acting as if this feud has been building when there really was no building of this feud for the last couple of months because things were being set up for Crown Jewel and the previous pay per view that we just had with WWE, which I don't even remember what it was, from being honest. Anyways, Sheamus and Ludwig had a pretty physical match, but Sheamus was able to pick up the win over Ludwig Kaiser. Now, there was one women's match on the card, and this was between Zelina Vega and Ivy Nile. Now, last week, LWO advanced over American Made. They advanced, and this was all due to Ivy's interference and Zelina's, taking down of Ivy, and I think she slapped Chad Gable. I can't remember. But LWO was able to advance over them. Now Ivy and Zelina had a match, and the match seemed to be pretty good for both of them. Both of them had pretty good looks in this match. Zelina looked great, Ivy looked great, but ultimately it was due to the interference of Julius and Brutus that allowed Ivy to pick up the win over Zelina Vega. This would lead to some other things later on that we'll get into in a second. Now, Seth freaking Rollins decided he was going to come out there and basically tell Bronson Reed that, you did all of this, you wanted to get your name out there, but you forgot that you were awakening a monster that had been dormant in me for quite some time. And he said, at first, I didn't want to let that monster out. I've been letting that monster sleep for quite some time. But now I kind of like the idea of the monster being awakened. I like this feeling. Bronson Reed cut him off in his mid-speech. And he said, listen, I promised Adam I wouldn't cause any chaos inside the building of the show this week. But I ain't inside the building. I'm outside. So if you want some, come get some, bitch. Seth was like, bet, bitch. He got out, ran his ass down the ramp, and went to go get him a piece. Okay? Went down there, and the boys started fighting. Adam was begging for them to not do this. He said, you have your match, let it be what it is. And Seth said, I don't care. You think I care? I don't. I'm going out there. He went out there, and they fought. At first, it seemed like Seth got the drop on Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed got curb stomped on the hood of the car, and it seemed like Seth was going to be able to curb stomp him through the table and get the drop on Bronson, but that's not what happened. Bronson was able to throw a trash can at Seth, hit him in the head, and distract him from being able to, recuperate. And as Bronson went inside, he put Seth through a table. You have to understand the move that Bronson Reed did put all his weight and momentum into Seth's body through the table. Bronson Reed is nowhere near a light human being. So him doing shit like this off the back of a production truck, and it was the inside, it wasn't off the top, because that would have been gnarly. I think Seth would have been dead. But it was off the back of the production truck onto some tables that they had set up. Seth Rollins was out. Bronson Reed got up like he ain't had nothing wrong with him. Seth took this massive breath after this was over, like he had a hard time breathing. If this was acting, he was doing a very good job of it, because he ended up going to the hospital. And according to Joe, the doctors say that Seth was complaining of back pain. And we all know that Seth suffers from back problems. He always has. It's been that way for a while. So him complaining of back pain is not good. kayfabe wise. So everyone is worried that the match at Crown Jewel isn't going to happen. I, on the other hand, know it's going to happen, and he's going to show up half dead, about ready to kill Bronson Reed, despite the fact that he's at half capacity. And more than likely, he will win at Crown Jewel, seeing as what we just saw here on Monday Night Raw. Let us move on. The show moved rather quickly, if I'm being honest. There were some pieces that were in the midst of here that I thought was very interesting. You see, The Miz is very terrified of the Wyatt Six. And he understands that now that he is a part, or because they had a little partnership with the Final Testament, he now has become a target of the Wyatt Six. He wants to distance himself completely from all of this because he fears them. And he definitely should. But Karrion Kross isn't going to let that happen. You see, Karrion is upset that old Rickety Bones, Paul Ellering, is out, and he sacrificed himself for Miz. Well, number one, the Miz didn't ask for the sacrifice, if we're being honest. And number two, isn't this your fault, Karrion? I mean, you're the one who inserted yourself into Miz and R-Truth's relationship. You're the one who became the devil on his shoulder, encouraging him to turn on his friend and his family. So everything that's happening to you via the Wyatt Six and everything that's happened to Paul Ellering is all because of you and your incessant need to control the narrative in the WWE. This is your fault. Whether you want to believe it or not, whether the Miz is at your side or whether he's taken out by the Wyatt Six, everything that is happening to you is all your fault. So enjoy the ride to hell, I guess. It's about as good as it's going to get. With that being said, the Miz attempted to distance himself twice. Once, he did it with R-Truth. R-Truth was talking with American Alpha, and R-Truth was telling him he was glad that they had distanced themselves from Chad Gable. And rightfully so. They all were happy to see R-Truth, and they all talked, and everybody loves R-Truth, obviously. But R-Truth got walked up, and all of a sudden, here goes the Miz. And he's like, listen, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have did this to you. I apologize. I was out of my mind. I don't know what I was doing, but I'm sorry. I really hope you can forgive me and we can move forward. And then R-Truth, he basically said, yeah, we can do that. And our American Alpha was like, nah, fam, like, you don't need to listen to him. This isn't gonna work. And then he was like, I know what I'm doing. I got it. I know y'all trying to help me, but this is about me and him. I don't want y'all involved. So they walked away. Him and R-Truth did their handshake. And Miz said, I knew you would understand, man. I knew you would understand. He was like, yep, I do. But hold on. And then that nigga punched him in his face. Punched him right in the face. And he was like, good luck with the Wyatt Six. They gonna kill y'all. I ain't gonna lie. That 100% was satisfying. Hello, Rico. How are you? It was absolutely satisfying. That was probably one of the best parts about Monday Night Raw. Afterwards, Miz decided to go a different route. He decided to go the management route and make his plea to Adam Pearce. He said, I am a former WWE champion. I'm the 2-time Grand Slam champion. I deserve better than this. I don't want to be attacked. I've done nothing wrong. He's just going in and in and on and on and on and on and on. Adam's just laughing. And he's like, what the hell is so funny? And he says, well, and there's Final Testament. And they're like, what's going on? What's the plan? And he was like, plan? Okay, so if we see any Wyatt Six members, yeah, we gotta run. Karrion was like, no, that's not gonna happen. He says, you either find out what the hell is going on, or I want to break your legs. Cool? All right, now break. I say, goddamn. Hold on, y'all. It's something in my phone case. Oh my gosh. I hope this ain't get on my phone. There's oil in there. It's fucking weird. Came from sitting on that counter. Anyways, it don't matter what the Miz do, he cannot escape any heartbreak. Because if he runs from Final Testament, not only will he have to deal with the Wyatt Six, but he also will have to deal with Final Testament. And if he runs from Final Testament, I mean from Wyatt Six, he still is gonna have to work with the Final Testament. The Wyatt Six is still gonna come after him. So he is damned if he do, and damned if he don't. My new bedding set came in, so I went crazy and reorganized my room and threw out a bunch of stuff. When I tell y'all my back hurted, well, sometimes you gotta rearrange. They say you're supposed to keep the stuff that bring you joy. That's what they say. This triple threat tag team match was the second to the last match on the show. This one had the most storytelling in it, I will say. When it comes to LWO, New Day, and the War Raiders, the New Day in this match seemed to not be on the same page at all. Don't know what type of shit Xavier Woods is on, but quite frankly, he cost his team this match. They were set up to do their finisher and pick up the W. But instead of paying attention and doing what was necessary to extend the match or at least end it before you take out the other member of the team, he decides to go after Rey Mysterio when they had Dragon Lee laid out. This cost the New Day the opportunity to end the match immediately. Not only that, but as the match reared towards closer to the end, the War Raiders were back involved in the match, and Rey Mysterio was about to get in and take out, I think it was Ivar. But that's when Chad Gable shows up. Now, earlier in the night, when Ivy Nile came out there with the Creed brothers, Chad Gable was not with them. Don't know where he was, don't care. But in this case, he ended up putting Rey Mysterio in an ankle lock. Not quite sure why he did that. I guess it had something to do with them beating them last week. But at the same time, y'all lost fair and square, bro. Find something else to do. Find something else to do, my nigga. Like, you putting this man in an ankle lock because y'all lost to them? Come on, bro. But I guess it'll give LWO and American Made something else to do besides just walking around and not being seen. So fine. Whatever makes you happy. Xavier Woods, there's something wrong with you. I don't know exactly what your problem is, but there's something wrong with you. You keep trying to prove to everybody that you're not the bad guy. But in the middle of the match, while the match is going, the crowd is booing you. And instead of you focusing on what is going on in the match, you're so upset and so jaded by the fact that they're booing you. Why do you care? Get your shit done, bro. If it's all about winning the match, then win the fucking match and argue about the booing later. Stop being a whiny bitch. Goodness. I don't like no sour ass, crying ass, whiny ass man for no reason. I don't like that. I don't like that. It's not attractive. It's stank. Find something else to do. Please. Because this whole trying to convince everybody, oh, Woods is right, bullshit, is trash. It's garbage. You knew. Rey Mysterio mask came off by accident. All right, cool. Give you that one. Not going to worry about that one, right? But multiple times you have gone out there and people are getting beat up because of you. And you've left them to their own devices. Meanwhile, motherfuckers is coming out there getting their ass whooped trying to save you. But none of that matters because you trying to win matches. All right, cool. So what happened with this one? Yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought. Don't nobody want to hear that bullshit. Let's talk about this. The Judgment Day tried to corner Adam after he had to deal with Bronson Reed and Seth freaking Rollins. Now, the Judgment Day were demanding that Adam tell them who his mystery opponent was. His mystery opponent was none other than Damian Priest. Adam didn't feel like dealing with their bullshit. One thing I will say is that for once, Finn was the voice of reason. Finn said, listen, I know you're trying to prove yourself and whatnot, but there's a reason why we call Damian Priest the Punisher. I don't think you should do this. Everybody is all in their feelings. And of course, fucking Dom is like, I can win this. I don't need anybody's help. I don't want nobody else out there with me. I can do this. Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah, you can do this? Cool. Fine. Finn wasn't having it. Finn walked away. We ain't seen Finn all night. Now, at first, Dom came out there on his own. But once the match started to take a turn and Dominic Mysterio wasn't getting the pin and it looked like he wasn't going to win, that's when the Judgment Day came down, caused enough of a distraction to give Dominic a roll-up pin over Damian Priest. Now, Adam made it very clear that if Dominic Mysterio could be a former World Heavyweight Champion, then he could get a title shot at Gunther's championship. The only good thing about this is that Gunther is going to whoop Dominic Mysterio's ass, and I can't wait. I need to see that. I need to see it. Okay, I'm just gonna relish in the ass whipping that he's gonna receive. Now, because of this, Damian Priest beat the absolute hell out of Dominic Mysterio. When I tell you that man got his ass whooped, he got his ass whooped. And every time Liv and Raquel standing there about to cry, it was the most satisfying thing I have seen all day long. And I know Rhea was back there smiling with her evil self. I know she was back there living her best life, watching Damian decimate this fool. Okay, he beat the brakes off of Damian, off of Dom. He beat Dom with a chair. He hit him with the razor's edge. He choke slammed him. He came back in there and beat him with the chair again. It was blow after blow after blow. And it was nothing that any of them could do about it. Nothing Carlito could do. Nothing JD could do. And it was damn sure nothing Spanish Rachel and Meth Head Liv could do. None of them could do nothing. Damian was just whooping Dom's ass. And Finn was nowhere to be found. So I know next week this is about to be a problem. They're going to be like, what happened to you? You let him beat us up. I told you not to take your ass out there. That'd be the first thing that I would say. I told you not to take your asses out there. I warned you that this is who he is. There's a reason why he was the muscle of the group. You don't piss him off like that. I don't know. I'm with Finn on this one. Very rarely, but I'm with Finn on this one. He whooped Dom's ass. I'll be surprised if Dom is even prepared and ready to go, because once Gunther get a hold of him, it's going to be nuts. It's going to be nuts. Do you hear me? He going to beat the crap out of Dom. But Saturday is Crown Jewel. And as I've already gone over Crown Jewel in my previous video, which if you haven't watched, my recap of NXT's Halloween Havoc, please go watch it, okay? And if you could do me a solid and head over to Creation World over there with Matt and Katie for Smacking It Raw, you guys can go over there and listen to us chit-chat about a few things. And we also went over Halloween Havoc as well. So go on over there and check it out for me. Do me a favor, do me a solid, and give them a thumbs up. Just like you guys should give me a like on this video. Please share it, okay? And if you want, please subscribe. It really, really does help when you do all of those things. Plus, that's free. It's absolutely free. But just to go over a few things that's going to happen over at Crown Jewel. Crown Jewel has quite the lineup. 6 matches. 2 of them have multiple competitors in them. But let's go off with the first one. Randy Orton is going to face off against Kevin Owens. Now, we haven't seen Kevin Owens in quite some time. It's been almost 3 weeks, I guess you could say, um, that we haven't seen Kevin Owens. I suspect that Friday he will rear his head on SmackDown, seeing as how Cody is supposed to be facing off against Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser along with Randy Orton. Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins are scheduled to head over to Saudi and go wrestle for Crown Jewel. But due to the events that happened this past Monday, one can only assume that he will be there. But seeing as how shows are pre-taped due to Crown Jewel, I would imagine that Seth freaking Rollins will be there and we will have our match. The women are getting a lot of time, especially this women's tag team division. They have officially built it up nicely. Lash, Jakara, Io, Kyrie, Piper, and Chelsea are all challenging the current tag team champions, Bianca and Jade, and they are going to defend their titles in a fatal four-way. This is going to be very, very interesting. This means that Bianca and Jade have a 25% chance of retaining and or losing their championship. Well, they have a 25% chance of retaining their title, but they got a 75% chance of losing their title. None of the champions have to be pinned in these types of matches, so it is more than likely that another team will be crowned tag team champion if that's the case. If they do decide to drop these titles to anyone, I would not mind Lash and Jakara becoming tag team champions and taking the belts to NXT for a little while. This will split up Bianca and Jade, which I hope it can be amicably until they can create a reason for them to battle. I really don't want them to go and be, fighting because of these tag team titles. I don't. But there's the tea on that. Moving on, the triple threat match between Andrade, Carmelo Hayes, and LA Knight. This all came about because of Nick Aldis's bright idea to make LA Knight the special guest referee for their Game 7 matchup. Didn't work out too well because LA Knight is always all about LA Knight. And now he is in a triple threat, which means that he has a 33% chance of retaining his championship, but he also has a massive opportunity, a massive shot at losing his title as well. Don't quote me on the percentages. Math has never been my strong suit. Trust me. Trust me. Moving on to the real reason why Crown Jewel has been dubbed this amazing event. There are 2 new belts on the horizon. These are going to be belts that are only defended at Crown Jewel, I presume. And this is going to be the inaugural Crown Jewel Championship. And the way you determine that is to have champion versus champion. And because each brand has their respective champion, Cody Rhodes for SmackDown as the WWE champion and Gunther for Raw as the World Heavyweight Champion, it is only fitting to have the 2 top dominant superstars face off to determine who is going to be the first ever Crown Jewel champion. The Crown Jewel title is a beautiful belt. They keep carting it around with security, and it's in its own precious case. I think they're doing too much, but go off. Whatever makes you happy. And last but not least, we have the women who will also compete for the first ever Crown Jewel Championship. The current women's world champion is Liv Morgan, and Nia Jax is your current WWE Women's Champion. Both of these women are going to vie to become the first ever Crown Jewel Champion. Who that will be would depend on the mess that's going on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, where Rhea Ripley incessantly focused on that championship, vowing that the only way that they can get rid of her is they will have to kill her to get to that title. It doesn't seem like Liv Morgan is going to have any peace as champion, and quite frankly, she's earned the right not to. Rhea Ripley had a promo she cut on Monday Night Raw, and it's very simple. She said she's done some things that she knows can be, considered wrong. And she also understands their plight to a certain extent. but she also isn't trying to do anything other than to get that championship back. And she said, as much as they want to keep dancing around the subject and making it seem as though they've gotten her down, she said she's never gonna stop coming after that championship. So they're gonna have to kill her to make her go away. And she said every chance she get, they're gonna suffer a beatdown courtesy of Rhea Ripley. Now, Raquel and Liv in the beginning had true intentions of getting revenge on Rhea Ripley. And to be fair, they were owed those receipts from Raquel being attacked incessantly by Rhea Ripley, who admits that she did these things. And she understands that consequences have repercussions. In their case, everybody always says, well, you can't tell a victim how to get their revenge or how long that revenge should last. Quite frankly, if you are incessantly obsessed with getting revenge and then your description of revenge doesn't move past them, then something's wrong. If the only reason why you're doing what you're doing is to make Rhea Ripley suffer, then you really don't have any true passion in life. If the only reason why you're with Dominic Mysterio is because you know it sticks in Rhea Ripley's craw, not only is that stupid to attach yourself to a man for the sake of getting annoying Rhea Ripley, because that's not even working. It's the fact that you have Raquel, or that Raquel is allowing herself to be your deaf mute sidekick while you run around attacking not only Rhea Ripley, but everyone else in your path. You will make sure everyone has to pay for one person's transgressions. That doesn't sit well with me, which is why I can't wait for the day when you have to pay for the actions of your own. Every action has a reaction, they say. And there's no way you're going to just walk away unscathed because you felt like you deserved this revenge. The revenge you deserve should have been served to the person who deserved it, not everyone in your path of destruction. People like R-Truth and The Miz. I mean, you have to understand, when you're planning out revenge, revenge needs to be targeted. Everybody should not be caught up in your net when you plan out your revenge, is the point. Not nobody want to hear Raquel speak. Well, at least she can talk for herself and stop walking around with glasses on like she doesn't know how to do anything. And Liv Morgan is the best talking piece you can think of? I think not. Moving on. Friday, we have a few things coming down the pike. On Friday, there will be a Fatal 4-Way match between each member of the Fatal 4-Way for the women's tag team match at Crown Jewel. Lash Legend, Piper Niven, Io Sky, and Bianca Belair will compete on Friday Night SmackDown in this Fatal 4-Way match. Liv Morgan and Nia Jax will come face-to-face once again in similar fashion to the way that Cody and Gunther came face-to-face last week. And this is probably going to be your main event. Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton will take on Imperium's Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser. Tuesday is the fallout of NXT Halloween Havoc. And there's a lot going on here. Now, if my memory serves me correctly, Tatum Paxley spun the wheel and she made a deal. Apparently, she and Wendy Chu will have a casket match. When that match will be, I'm not quite sure. But it is set to happen. NXT 2300 is happening on November 6th. And it seems they are setting up Bully Ray and Trick Williams to face off against Ethan Page and Ridge Holland. And, of course, we're going to have to listen to Fallon Henley run around with the Women's North Championship because she did beat Kaylani Jordan. And Julia and Stephanie did defeat Cora and Roxanne. So I'm very curious as to how this is going to play out on Wednesday. And we have a tag team title match. It's going to be Axiom and Frazier versus Javon Evans and Cedric Alexander. I am looking forward to this match. I can't wait. With all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you guys next time. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Please don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. And you guys can always join the membership. There is some membership content going up this week. I promise you, you guys will not be disappointed. I'm going to go over the Bloodline timeline, not all the way back to 4 years, but starting from now. We're going to start from now and where this could possibly lead into War Games. We're going to talk about the War Games matches for the men and the women, and this is going to be membership exclusive content. So if you want to hear all about that, you got to join the membership, ladies and gentlemen. And if you want to support the channel, you guys can always shop my merch. Fourth Wall has all of my merch available right now. It's the easiest place to get it. I chose the highest quality stuff I could find for Fourth Wall to create this merchandise. I didn't want you guys to get anything cheap. I wanted it to be as high quality as possible. The link to the membership, the link to the Fourth Wall is in the comment section. So you guys can go ahead and look at the stuff that I have available. Right now, we're selling the hoodies, and that's where I'm going to be for right now. Tumblers and coffee mugs are available. With that being said, I'll see you guys Wednesday. And we'll go live for Freestyle Wednesday. I think we're going to have some fun and do Top 5 Wednesday. We haven't done a Top 5 episode in a while. So we'll do Top 5. We're going to do some SBC chat. And we're going to talk some wrestling like we always do. Love you guys. And I'll see you guys next time.
If you don't want to see me, if you don't want